Hopefully you guys had a Merry Christmas. Welcome back to the channel. Today is the day after Christmas, December 26th. And just been thinking about stuff for the new year. One of the biggest things you have to think about in business like this is what items you want to shrink, what items you want to grow, what's done good for you, what's done bad for you. And just kind of go through that whole process of just kind of picking and choosing if you get more of these, or do you get more of that, or do you get more of that. So, and also the potential thought process of maybe potentially getting a new spot. So I doubt it, but you never know. It's thoughts you have to think about. And so we're going to go through today and just look at some of the different stuff I've got in the store, what stuff I think I need to get more of, and what stuff I think I need to get less of. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you guys look for when you guys go to a game store? What are your favorite things to buy? What are your favorite things to pick up? So let's get looking at it and see what we can figure out. So first on the list, as far as stuff to probably grow this year, get back in line. I used to have a lot of this stuff in, but I've kind of thinned down just with the struggles this past year. But definitely getting back on board, getting some of this Gundam stuff back online. And that includes making sure I've got all of the accessories and stuff online. We'll be able to use, get more of that. Definitely want to get more of that in. That's been a really good seller here at the shop. So definitely probably number one on the growth list. And on top of that, not just Gundams, but one of the things looking to get more and more into is kind of just pushing into kind of that pop culture area a little bit for some of the folks that come in that don't know about gaming. So I've actually started getting some of these blind box style things, and of course figures as well are an awesome part of that. Now figures is hard because it's very niche, so got to be careful on that one, but that's one spot definitely want to look into expanding this year. So spot number two, highly potentially pushing into a little bit harder than I have been. It's going to be Games Workshop stuff. I'd gotten into Games Workshop stuff a long time ago, but I do actually advertise on Google for the shop, so it helps a ton. And if you type in Games Workshop in my local area, I usually come up first. So might need to work on that for sure. So one of the big shrinks that's kind of counterintuitive towards what I just said about Games Workshop is actually moved away from a lot of physical miniature sales this year and moved over to the paint side of things. So I've got Games Workshop, I've got Vallejo, I've got a lot of the newer niche styled paints like Too Thin Coats and Pro Acryl there. Definitely going to be getting more Pro Acryl and more Too Thin Coats in very soon. And of course I've got the whole fancy smancy line of speed paints. I've got the primer down there, but I've got the full rack on order. So hopefully it'll be here in the next couple of weeks to be able to lift this up and make a nice little army painter section. And along with the paints as well, definitely looking to continue to increase and expand the accessories options. So I've got the army painter and I've gotten Green Stuff World. As far as I know, I'm the only distributor locally of Green Stuff World stuff here in Middle Tennessee. You have to get that stuff imported from Spain, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. And I do a lot of things people don't like to do. So that's one of them, import those items from Spain. So if you're interested in Green Stuff World, hopefully I get more of that. And that as well, I've had some people ask about Turbo Dork. And so I'm looking at probably using some of their chromatic paints, the ones that color shift, getting some of those in with the next order. Every order I've made with Green Stuff World, I've kind of expanded. So I'm gonna keep doing that. So that's like the major three areas I think in the shop that I'm looking at expanding this year. I'm not sure, like there's always tiny spots, you know, there's always a shrink and grow struggle when it comes to TCGs. You never know what's doing good, what's doing bad, what you need to get more of, what you need to get less of. Like I said, especially with some of the different brands recently, they flip-flop back and forth on being good. I'm pretty empty right now because of the holiday season, so everybody kind of came through and picked me clean on boxes. I've got to restock on a lot of that this week before the new year hits. So, but being smart and picking those is going to be the hard part. So I always like to cater to some of the more niche TCGs here at the shop. We have lots of awesome shops around town that have a lot of Magic support. So I try to do a lot of your niche ones, like Altered we do here, Flesh and Blood we do here. I do some of the Vanguard, TCG, the Bushiroad games. So I have a great communities for all of those. So we'll keep trying. So now we're going to switch over to some of the things we might shrink this coming year. And honestly, I sat around for a little bit before I started. I was trying to think of stuff to shrink this year, and I don't know what I could shrink. I don't know if I can shrink anything. A lot of people have come to expect certain things in the shop. One of the things is really kind of taking an idea of how deep I dig into TCG. I love to try to support newer games and things like that. So, is that Altered? Amazing game. Does not act like a normal TCG. It doesn't have the same collector push. Honestly, I encourage you to try it out. You'll love the game if you try it out. But enough sales there. But other games, just different stuff like that. Just how many do I buy starting off? Trying to read the customer base a little better for this shop here, and just see what we can do. So of course, Lorcana, amazing. So definitely kind of figuring out how I do TCGs. Definitely going to be one thing I look for going into 2025. So the next up is really, it's not really a shrink per se, but it's kind of like a mix. It's kind of like a shrink and a grow at the same time. Like I said, the board game section here, this is probably one of my favorite sections in the shop. I kind of lean heavily into the board gaming stuff. And so we have a pretty huge selection of things. But one of the things I will do sometimes, if I see a game that's new, I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be great or not, I won't buy too many of them. So sometimes I'll get stuck with extra copies. So what I'm planning on doing this year is really kind of working on building that evergreen set of things that if it's out of stock and I think, oh, we need to get that, we'll order more. I mean, simple stuff like, you know, Space Base, you know, your Catans, I'm off screen now. You know, your Catan games, Ticket to Ride, stuff like that. Definitely it's things like that we'll try to keep in stock all the time. Try to, if we run out of a copy next week, just order another copy to replace it. That way there's just a constant movement of stuff. So it's one of the only other things I could think of really to help shrink. Like I said, definitely want to see the shop thrive and grow. Like I said, short-term plans, that's what we're looking at for 2025. Like I said, let me know in the comments below if you guys have any ideas on what kind of stuff we could add in, or what kind of stuff we can shrink or grow, what stuff you're interested in. And so thank you for coming along, checking us out. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Happy New Year if I don't see you before then. Bye-bye.